My name is Anna, and today I want to share with you the story of my life. It's not an easy story to tell, and for many years, I kept most of it hidden deep inside me. But I've learned that sometimes, by telling your story, you not only free yourself, but also give strength to others who may be silently living through the same struggles. So, this is my truth. It is a story of pain and love, of betrayal and forgiveness, of losing everything and finding hope again. It is the story of how one woman, who thought her life was broken beyond repair, slowly gathered the pieces and discovered that love can still bloom even in the darkest of places. I grew up in a small town. Life was simple, yet complicated in ways people from the outside could never really understand. My family wasn't the picture-perfect kind you might see in movies. My father was distant, my mother tired, and I often felt like I was walking on eggshells. When I was a teenager, I met David. He was kind, with a gentle smile that made me feel seen in a world where I often felt invisible. He came from a family that seemed to have everything together, and when he looked at me, it was as if he was saying, "You belong too." At first, David was everything I thought I wanted. He was attentive, protective, and he made me laugh when I desperately needed joy. I thought he would save me from the loneliness that weighed heavy on my heart. But as the years passed, the warmth in his eyes dimmed. Slowly he changed. His protection became control. His love turned into sharp words, then silence, then anger. The boy I once adored turned into a man I barely recognized, and yet I stayed. Because when you grow up feeling unworthy, sometimes you cling to the very thing that hurts you, thinking it's the best you'll ever have. During those difficult years, I met Lily. She was everything I wasn't: brave, outspoken, and full of fire. Where I was quiet, she was loud. Where I was cautious, she was fearless. And for reasons I couldn't explain, she chose me as her closest friend. Lily became my anchor. She was the one person I could call at midnight crying, and she wouldn't ask questions, she would just show up. She would pull me into her arms, hand me a cup of tea, and remind me that I deserved more than the life I was living, but Lily had struggles of her own. Behind her laughter, there was sadness, and behind her strength, there was exhaustion. She didn't always talk about it, but I could see it. Sometimes, it felt like we were two broken souls holding each other up, hoping that somehow, together, we might find healing. David's behavior worsened with time. He became possessive and cruel, making me doubt myself every step of the way. He would tell me that I was nothing without him, that nobody else would ever love me, that I was weak and unworthy. And after hearing those words enough times, part of me began to believe them. There were nights when I cried myself to sleep, silently, so he wouldn't hear me. There were mornings when I looked in the mirror and didn't recognize the woman staring back, but I stayed. Because I thought leaving would mean admitting I had failed. And then came Mia, my beautiful daughter, my little light. The day she was born, I held her in my arms and promised her that I would protect her no matter what. For the first time, I felt a love so strong it gave me courage. Raising Mia was both a blessing and a challenge. On one hand, she gave me strength to keep going. On the other hand, she tied me closer to David, even when I longed to run. I didn't want her to grow up without a father, so I stayed longer than I should have, but Mia was sharp, even as a little girl. She saw things I tried to hide. She saw the arguments, the tears, the silence. And sometimes she would climb into my lap, put her small hands on my cheeks, and whisper, "It's okay, Mommy, I'm here." And that broke my heart even more. Because I knew she shouldn't have to comfort me. There comes a moment when even the strongest thread snaps. For me, it happened one winter evening. David came home angry, slamming doors, shouting about things that didn't matter. Mia was in the corner, shaking, and something inside me shifted. I realized then that staying wasn't protecting her. It was teaching her that this was normal, that love was supposed to hurt. And I refused to let her grow up believing that. So I left. I took Mia in my arms, grabbed a small bag, and walked out the door. My hands were trembling, my heart was racing, but my mind was clear for the first time in years. We stayed with Lily for a while. She welcomed us without hesitation, making space in her tiny apartment, turning her couch into my bed, and her home into our sanctuary. For the first time in forever, I felt safe. It was during this time that I met Emma. She was a volunteer at a local community center, where I had gone to seek help. She had a calm presence, the kind of peace that made you feel lighter just by being near her. Emma listened. Really listened. She didn't judge me, didn't tell me what I should or shouldn't have done. She just let me speak. And in her silence I found healing. She became more than a friend, she became a mentor, a guiding light. She taught me that my worth was not defined by David's cruelty, nor by my scars. She reminded me that I was more than the pain I carried. Through Emma I learned to breathe again. Life wasn't suddenly easy. There were bills to pay, jobs to juggle, nights when I doubted if I was strong enough to keep going. But I did. For Mia, for myself. Slowly I built a new life. I found work, I found community, and I found myself again. David tried to come back into our lives, apologizing, making promises. But I had learned enough to know that words without change are empty. And though part of me ached for the family we had once dreamed of, I knew that going back would only destroy me. So I chose myself. I chose Mia. Years passed. Mia grew into a bright, compassionate girl. Lily remained by my side, and Emma continued to guide me. I laughed more, cried less, and started to believe that maybe, just maybe, happiness was possible for me. And then, unexpectedly, love found me again. It wasn't dramatic or rushed. It wasn't a whirlwind like my younger years. It was slow, gentle, patient. It was someone who saw me for who I was, not broken, not weak, but whole and worthy. At first, I was scared. I had built walls so high I thought nobody could climb them. But love has a way of seeping through the cracks, and one day I realized that my heart was no longer heavy. It was open. When I look back now, I don't see a woman who failed. I see a woman who survived. I see someone who endured pain, yes, but also someone who found the courage to walk away, to rebuild, to love again. David was part of my story, but he was not the end of it. Lily, Mia, and Emma were my saviors in different ways. And together, they helped me rise. And love, the kind I once thought I didn't deserve, found me when I was finally ready to receive it. So, if you're listening to this and you're in a place where you feel broken, unworthy, or stuck, please know this: your story isn't over. You are stronger than you think, braver than you feel, and more deserving of love than you could ever imagine. This is my story, and I hope it gives you hope for yours.